Hello, sorry there was no advance notice of this live. I've been um, really not feeling well today, so wasn't sure if I was going to be going live or not. Um, don't know how long this video will last. I'm trying again on my laptop. Um, it keeps shutting down on me at random. And so my boyfriend looked at it again, and we'll see if it's fixed this time or not. So if all of a sudden I'm gone, you'll know it's because my laptop decided to shut down on me. The purpose of this live today is to talk about my visits yesterday I had with Melissa Calusinski and Marni Yang. So I'm not talking about Stephen right now. I know that's still going to be a ton of questions that I'm going to get on here while I'm talking, but I titled this live Melissa and Marni, so hopefully people will understand that I'm not talking about Stephen right now. Maybe we will talk about him at the end of this. But for those that don't know, Melissa Calusinski and Marni Yang are two other cases I advocate for. Both women were found guilty of murders they didn't commit in Lake County, Illinois. Around the same time, they have both been in prison close to 11 years now. It's two separate cases. The women had nothing to do with each other outside of prison, and they don't have any kind of relationship inside of prison. I got involved in these cases where Melissa Calusinski is represented by Kathleen Zellner, which, as you know, is Stephen Avery's attorney. So from that, I met up with her father, Paul Calusinski, and so just started advocating from there for Melissa's case. And Marni's case has been being investigated by the Words Matter Publishing Justice Review Team for the last 3 years. WMP stands for Words Matter Publishing, which is a book publishing house owned by this woman, Tammy. And now okay, there we go. I just got a pop-up on my computer that I'm trying to close. So hopefully it now doesn't end this video. And so Tammy was interested in doing a book on Melissa's case. And so she set up a meeting with Melissa's parents. And Melissa's parents asked me to join them at that meeting. And that's how I met Tammy. And Tammy came to that meeting with Marni's father, because he's also part of the Justice Review Team. So I met Tammy from there, and that's then Tammy, learning more about me, wanted me to come on board the Justice Review Team. And so that's how I got involved in Marni's case. So both of these women are in the same prison down there. It's about a 2.5 hour drive from me. I'm in a Chicago suburb. So I go down to the prison every other Wednesday is what the on my schedule, and if they're on prison lockdown like they were when I went last time, and so I couldn't visit. So I couldn't spend as much time there this time as I usually do, because I had an event scheduled that night that I had to be back for, that I was hosting this event. So I usually visit Marni first and then switch to Melissa, because Melissa works with the kitchen. She does like the menus, and she's not the one cooking, but so she's doing work in the morning. So it's better if I visit with Marni first and then Melissa. But this week I had to flip-flop it, because we are filing for Marni on Tuesday next week. And there are no current pictures of Marni. So, sorry, turn off the sound on my phone. So before we file for her on Tuesday, and there's a press conference scheduled for Wednesday, Tammy wanted some current pictures of Marni. And they only do pictures at the prison on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from like 12:30 to 1:30. And then too, you don't know if they're the guy that's taking the pictures, if he's going to do it or not. He's somebody that's employed by the prison. He's there. But if he doesn't care to come take those pictures for an hour, then you're not getting a picture. So, and then there were months that no pictures happened because they said he didn't have any ink for the printer. So because of Marni now needing to have pictures taken, I had to switch. So I was visiting with her at the 12:30 to 1:30 time slot. And then they do a count at the prison anywhere starting at 2 or 2:30. So that stops movement at the prison. So visitors cannot come in or out of the prison. So if you're in the visiting room at 2 o'clock and you don't, or 2 or 2:30, whenever they call that final line to the gate before count, then you have to stay until they open it back up, which will be somewhere between 4 and 5. And, you know, I've made that mistake before of not paying attention to when count was and getting there at like 2:30. And now I can't get in until 4 o'clock. So I like found a store nearby and walked around for a little bit. And so since I needed to be back up here in the suburbs by 5, I had to make sure I was done with the visit by count. So covering all of that, first, my visit with Melissa. So I was really excited to talk to Melissa because she has a love of Halloween and scary movies and going to haunted houses. And I ran a haunted house for years and years, and I haven't had it in the last, I think, 3 years. Is it 3 years since I've had a haunted house? But I found a location this year, and we'll be doing a mini version of the haunted house. So I was excited to talk to her about it because I always like to talk to them about things other than the case. You know, they're living that misery. I don't want to dwell on it, you know, so I want to talk to them about things that it will take their mind off of, you know, what's going on. So I told Melissa about what my plans were for the haunted house, you know, how I was planning on doing each of the rooms and all that kind of stuff. And then I also told her before I left that I really want her thinking about the haunted house and coming up with ideas for me on things to do there, what she thinks would be cool. So, you know, I'm hoping that's something that also will take her mind off of where she is. Obviously, you're in prison. There's, you know, no denying where you're at. But so that I love to be able to talk to her about that. Melissa's birthday is coming up. It is next Friday. So if there's anyone out there, and hey, Maz, if there's anyone out there that you want to, you know, send her a card, you know, please get that sent out now to make sure she gets it in time for her birthday. You know, so not tomorrow, Friday, next Friday is her birthday. So, and like I said, she loves Halloween and all those kinds of things. She loves butterflies. We talk about, because I rescue monarchs. I raise monarchs. So she always likes to talk about the monarchs and telling me about the monarchs that she sees out there. Because the prison is in the middle of this like preserve, you know, so they've got a lot of wildlife out there. And the woman that does the the gardening at the prison, I say it like every time I go, I wish I could bring my cell phone in, because, you know, you have to walk from the administration building to the visitor building, you know, so you're walking through like a campus type thing. And the flowers are just phenomenal, and the butterflies that are all over them. It is so beautiful. So Marni really likes butterflies. She really loves dogs. So, you know, you want to send her a happy birthday card. She also told me that tablets are finally going to start being available at her prison on October 1st. I asked her if she has the money for the tablet. She's told me previously it would be like $200, if I recall correctly. And then there is like some other fees because like she can get music and stuff on there. She says she has the money already. But if you want to donate to Melissa's commissary, oh, Debbie, sorry that your mom is going to chemo. You know, you could donate something to her for a little something for, you know, happy birthday. So whether or not she uses it towards her tablet. She also told me she needs new shoes. She walks a lot because, like, for her job once a week, she's walking to all the different buildings on the campus. I always call it a campus because it just doesn't, I'm not in prison, so I can say it doesn't seem like prison to me, because I'm sure if I was in it, it's like, oh my God, this is prison, this is hell. But she walks around once a week delivering the menus to all the different buildings and stuff. So she walks a lot, and so wears out her shoes. And she likes to stay in shape and exercise and such. So she told me she needs a new pair of shoes. And she was also thinking of, and she wasn't saying this for me to tell people to buy her shoes. She's just saying in conversation. I'm the one that's going, I'm going to lock that away and make sure I tell you all that, yeah. So, you know, her birthday's next week. If you can give her a little something, and, you know, she needs it to put towards her tablet or to buy shoes. I know she's also talked up to me about how she's wanted forever that, Melissa is into her faith. She's a Catholic, and at the prison, hi Miley, at the prison you're allowed to wear a necklace that denotes your faith. So like Marni has a necklace of the Jewish star that she wears. Is it a Jewish star that she wears? No, it's not the Jewish, but it's something for her Jewish religion. And sorry, I'm ignorant when it comes to religion, so I'm not speaking well on that. But I know Melissa has been wanting a cross necklace, but I don't know what the deal is on that. You know, that if that has to be like a specific necklace that you can only purchase from the prison, that's approved by the prison, that kind of thing. So if anybody knows the details on that, you know, post it, or if you know about it and want to buy her this cross necklace for her birthday, you know, that would be great too. When I went to go visit them last time, I didn't get to have the visit because the prison was on lockdown. I found out, talking with both girls now, that it was due to fights. And the lockdown does nothing because fights continued. You know, so they were on lockdown for a full week. When you're on lockdown, it's supposed to stop all movement in the prison, where now they have to stay in their rooms and can't come out. They're not supposed to be able to bathe, to wash their clothes. They don't go to the chow hall. Food gets delivered to them. They do not go to their jobs at the prison. So now it actually costs more money to the state because they have to bring in more guards to come in and do these jobs that the inmates are now not doing for pennies. Melissa told me they were still able to shower occasionally. I guess there's some rule that you cannot make them go longer than 72 hours without a shower. But it was also, you know, a lot of the guards also didn't agree with this lockdown. So, and these girls are getting up. I kid you not, they get up at 3:30 a.m. So they're like all done with their showers and everything by 7. So she said they just would get up in the morning and line up for their showers like usual, and they still were able to go do them. But I guess this is something about a new warden in town that's gonna set these, this is my house now and these are my rules. And so all the rooms were shaken down. People's stuff was destroyed, and contraband taken. It, not contraband like, oh, somebody had a shank. It's stuff like, oh, they had an extra something or another in their room. Dumb stuff. And there's also a rule, like they have boxes in their room. This box is your correspondence goes in that box. And then this box is for your personals. And all your stuff is supposed to be in those boxes. You're not supposed to make your room your home, where this is where I put my toiletries and this is where I put my whatever. And if you have more stuff than would fit in the box, you're not supposed to be able to have it. So you're supposed to ship it home. So they were doing stuff like that. In Melissa's case, Melissa is a neat freak, a self-admitted neat freak. And when Melissa is free, I'll need her to come over here and get her neat freak on at my house, because I'm totally not a neat freak and I wish I was. So, I mean, Melissa keeps all her stuff in her box. She doesn't put anything out because she wants the room neat and tidy. And so she's constantly using a bleach water mixture where she cleans her walls and her ceiling and and it's a constant talk at the prison of that, her room is like the what did she call it? The surgical unit or something like that, something medical, because of how clean and sterile she keeps her room. So for her, when they come down and shake down the room, it, nothing, it's no big deal, but they do throw your stuff around. So it's just a pain that now you got to pick up your stuff and put your stuff away. So Melissa is, doing all right. She has her bouts of depression, that she gets herself in a funk. Melissa's also an artist, and she hasn't drawn in a while. I always try to push her to draw, because I think of that as some kind of escape for her, that if she could get herself in the, that she's drawing something. But she's done, like, she did this fabulous portrait of her parents that she sent to her parents for like their anniversary or something a few years ago. She's got this drawing of that religious thing you see all the time, of the praying hands with the rosary and the Bible. And hands are hard to draw. She draws lots of butterflies and such, where I've always told her too, and she knows, I've got this one space left open on my arm here, and I keep telling her that's her space. So draw a butterfly and I'll get it tattooed on there. But it's, again, me, I'm just trying to find ways to get her out of her head. And, I think of it like art therapy, so draw something. So she said, she keeps saying she's got to get back to drawing. Like, I brought her sketchbooks and such too. I brought her this book that's like, draw 100 things in 100 days or something like that. So then it has a page on this day, draw a butterfly, and this day, draw a tree, something like that, trying to do some kind of mental stimulation, visit went well with Melissa, and then I had the visit with Marni. I do have 3 pictures that Marni took, not a picture with me. They're pictures of just Marni, but I will not be posting them or showing them because they go to Tammy for justice review, and it will be used next week in Marni's filings and the press and everything for next week. When I can share them, I will. Marni is, it was a good visit at first, and then the end got sad, where Marni actually teared up, and she'll probably be mad at me for saying that, because Marni's not somebody that shows her emotion like that. Yeah. She's got, Tammy and her lawyer and her family and everything. Everybody is in the Justice Review team, and everybody is all upbeat and excited about this filing for Marni next week, and that the process will begin, and they're all positive. They have everything that they need here to prove her innocence. And Marni wants to be excited, but the system has already failed her. So there's that little, negative Nancy. I don't want to say devil, this negative Nancy on her shoulder that's saying, nope, you're stuck. You're going to be here for the rest of your life. And, and so she doesn't want to get her hopes up, because she had such faith in the system the first time around. And look what it did to her and to her children. So what I told her, in my opinion, I told her that she could be cautiously optimistic, because I totally understand, because I'm a drink, the glass half empty type of person. I'm a pessimist on a lot of things. And I think I do that to protect myself, because you don't want to feel like, oh my God, this is great, this is going to happen, and just how badly it crushes you when it doesn't. So if I sit there and convince myself of this will never work, this is dumb, then when it's great, that's, whoa, this worked, this was good, so I understand where she's coming from. So my advice to her was, be cautiously optimistic, and let's see what happens next week with this filing and the press conference. The press conference is on Wednesday next week. Let's see if the press picks this up and it becomes a big news story. And hopefully then, by people seeing Marni's side now, for the first time, being able to see what the evidence is that proves that she is innocent, then maybe she can start to get excited, that maybe something will happen. So it was hard for me at the end of the visit when she was getting emotional, and it's not something that, and I know I'm sure Tammy's going to watch this, and it's not something she's even shared with Tammy, of her, because she doesn't want to say these kinds of things to Tammy, because Tammy has been fighting so hard for Marni for 3+ years now, I believe. And there has been a lot of personal and financial sacrifice on the behalf of Tammy and Words Matter Publishing on Marni's behalf. And so Marni doesn't want to cause any worry for Tammy, so she wants to be like upbeat and, for Tammy, but, there's that negative Nancy, going, the system sucks and it put her there, and why would it work this time? So, Other than that, Marni said that, now remember I've told you about she had the bad roommate, cellmate, whatever you want to call her. And we were fighting so hard to get the prison to get this woman out of her cell that was tormenting Marni. So that finally happened. And so Marni had one night that she had the room completely to herself because she's in a 4-person room where Melissa's in a 2-person. And I asked Marni too, I said, so how does that happen too, that, you know, Melissa is in a 2-person and she's in a 4, you know, how do you get the 2? And she says, well, first thing, you have to have a job. And Marni doesn't have a job at the prison. So it's, you know, so you have the opportunity to go into the 2-person if you have a job. Marni's job, it's not a prison job that she's paid for. She's a teacher. And I asked her how many students she has currently. She thinks she's got 10 students currently. So she's teaching these people how math, which, oh my God, that's literally like my worst nightmare is math. I hate math and everything to do with math. So she teaches them with math and she's helping them to pass a GED. And so she does that because she's like found her calling, that, you know, teaching is, she really enjoys helping these women, but it's not a paid position at the prison. So then she's not eligible for the 2-person cell. So for the first night, she did get the room to herself. Then the second night, they moved in a woman who she says is a nice woman. She's in a wheelchair. Because Marni's actually, the house that she's in, it is for the elderly, the disabled, or the people that are assigned to help the disabled. And so Marni is technically hearing impaired. I should have asked her. I didn't even think about it because she has hearing aids and she never wears them. She's always carrying them in this little pack with her, and she wasn't carrying them this time. So she probably just forgot them back in her room or something. But so she's technically hearing disabled. So like all the inmates wear an ID that says their name and their inmate number. Then it also says their religion if they have declared. And then, you know, so Marni's name badge says Jewish, and then it says hearing impaired, which she hates. And so she always tries to cover that up. You know, so like all the other inmates, you'll see that they're wearing their badge. Marni carries hers and like puts it upside down on the table, you know, to not look at her name tag. So, but now they've got a woman in there that's causing trouble. But this one so far has not been as bad as the last one. So Marni's just trying to get herself in the mindset of I could do this, because what she's hoping is that her case does get picked up, that, you know, that she's going to get a new trial and that she'll be remanded back to county for her new trial. So she's like, I'm not going to, you know, it's not going to be that long and I'll be out of here. And, you know, I won't be in this room. I can do this. So, Marni said the 1-week lockdown was hell for her because that really bad roommate was still in the room with her. So Marni's on a bottom bunk. So she literally put up a sheet and then stayed on that bottom bunk with the sheet there the whole time and didn't come out. And that was how she kept herself away from the woman. And all of them have their own TVs. So she had a TV in there and would read. And so that's what she spent her time doing. The woman would say nasty things to Marni, constantly throws Marni's case at her, calling her killer and a baby killer and those kinds of things. And Marni just does what she can to ignore it. So we will be updating you after Marni's filing. that's when we have the group called the WMP Citizen Investigators. But in order to be approved into that Facebook group, you have to first go to marniyang.com and go to the CI tab on there, and you have to pay a $10 membership fee. And that $10 goes towards, right now, Marni's defense, since that's the major case that Justice Review is working on. So it goes towards those expenses. And if once Marni's expenses are covered, it would go to the other cases that Justice Review takes on. There is another case that Tammy has been working on of another woman that's in the same prison that Marni and Melissa is in. And so she wants me to start visiting that inmate as well. That's like my role with the Justice Review team is, I'm just the one that's going to visit these people and spending some time with them. And I'll do stuff social media wise for them. And I that I am to protect Marni's family. So so her 3 children and her father, that when they're done and it's time to go, that they can get to their car safely and they're not harassed by press and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's an awesome job for me. As Tammy calls it, I will be a mama bear. So, which might not be a good thing to say now that I think about it, because Marni's case involves Sean Gale from the Chicago Bears. So I will probably live stream from the press conference. I will talk with Tammy about that on where is the best place for me to do that. I know Tammy's going to be live streaming it as well. So I think Tammy might be live streaming it on Justice Review, and then I will live stream it on somewhere else, but I don't know for sure where I should do that, because I would want it someplace public. So like I wouldn't do it here in MAM Gossip. I would do it, I want to do it on a public page so it gets to the most people. And I would not do it on Stephen Avery Project, because I know those people will get all upset about what does this have to do with Stephen, which still always bothers me, because why can't you be concerned about another case of a wrongfully accused? Why, especially if nothing is happening in Stephen's case, why can't you hear about another one? And if you don't want to watch that live stream that's on Marni's case, then don't go or don't watch it. Wouldn't that be pretty simple? But I don't know. Or maybe I should launch my Justice with Jax page for whenever I get around to starting to do this show for Tammy, because Words Matter Publishing owns a TV network on that Roku streaming service that I still know nothing about. And so I'm supposed to have a show on there that Tammy wanted it to have my name in it, which I think is a douchebag move. I'm not comfortable in having my name in there, because I think people, I'm going to take the hits from people that I want it to be all about me. Tammy feels, due to the stuff I've done with the Stephen Avery case, that my name Jax has notoriety, I guess, and that I should use it. And I'm like, yeah, but I have a whole lot of people that hate me. But as we know, and maybe I'll get into that in a minute, if I get into Stephen Avery stuff, it seems to be the people who hate me follow me more than people who like me and have to watch everything I do. So maybe I'll get that launched and do it from there, because I also have, I'm a, and now I sound like a douchebag again, I'm a well-known activist here in Illinois, and I have an activist group, but I don't want to bring, my activist group involves politics and my opinion on certain issues, and I don't want to bring that into here, because everybody's entitled to their stance on things, and I don't want to debate that in here. I don't think I would put it on there because I don't want to bring in my political life into this world. So maybe and so that's what I was saying. So Tammy came up with the name. She wanted to call it Just Jax. And then on a visit with Marni, I had mentioned that to her, and she said, how about Justice with Jax? So that's what I'll go with, Justice with Jax. All right, I've been yammering about the visits for a while. Let me go into your comments. Whoops, just jumped. Jeffrey says, because it sounds nice with all the flowers and butterflies, LOL, wouldn't mind a visit myself. Jeffrey, it really is. And like when you look at the soil looks like hard as a rock and cracked. It's like, how is anything growing out of this? And it's gorgeous. I don't know. Could I like walk up to the fence and zoom in? I don't know. We'll see. Oh, thank you, Miley, for sending money for shoes for Melissa. Emily says Star of David, and so does Miley. I don't think it's the Star of David, though. It looks like a little symbol, kind of like the division thing. So sorry. I hope I'm not offending anybody of the Jewish faith on my ignorance. I really don't mean that, so I apologize. Emily says, I didn't even think of it. Should have told you to wish her a happy Rosh Hashanah. It starts Sunday night. I asked her, Emily, if they do anything at the prison, and she says there are only 2 people at the prison who are Jewish. And so, but they do get to have a prayer ceremony, and Marni is the one that leads it. So yeah, so she will be doing something on Rosh Hashanah, and I hope I'm saying that right, with the one other inmate that is Jewish. I don't know how many inmates there are at Logan Correctional, but I was surprised by that. Maz says, when they get the tablets, do they have to pay for Wi-Fi each month? If so, how do the guards monitor what they can see or watch? Be good to be able to send them both good wishes and correspond with them. Well, the tablets will be limited on what they can do. So they will not have access to the internet. They will be able to have their video visits, so it will have like that app on there or whatever for their video visit. And then there are games that they can play on it too. So, and I know when I talked about this with Melissa like a month or so ago, I posted links in here because I had looked it all up. So I suppose we should do that again on looking on Logan Correctional and finding where it talks about the tablets and the rules and everything on that. So, but like I said, I know Melissa said, because I asked her, do you have the money for that? And she said, yeah. But it's also nice with her birthday being next Friday. If people, if you send her a happy birthday card and tell her, I just put $10 in your commissary, put it towards, whatever you would like for your day, because we've done this before with Steven and stuff going, if everybody just gave $5, because even here in Gossip, we're coming up on, I think it's 12,000 alleged people in here. If everybody gave $5, it's not a lot of money, but it would add up, and look at Stephen Avery Project. Stephen Avery Project, we currently have 204,631. We've had 1,200 new followers on Stephen Avery Project this week alone. If all those people just gave $1 to Stephen, You know, that's a nice chunk of change. So, but, and I don't want to go way into the weeds on that, you're only giving it to the commissary or to their lawyers. Nowhere else. I don't care who you hear it from. Nowhere else. So yeah, so we'll hopefully, if I think about it, because sorry, I'm in a weird headspace today, to get something posted on about the tablet at Logan. Marni hasn't said anything to me about the tablet, because I don't think Marni's thinking about that at all. She's thinking about her filing and what's going to happen. So I don't think she's concerned with the tablet. But it would be nice if the tablet had like one of the games on it was like crossword puzzle, because I know Marni likes doing crossword puzzles, because Marni is like super intelligent. That would be a cool thing for her, if nothing else, for the tablet to be able to do crosswords. Maz says, is she feeling better now she hasn't got that witch sharing? It helps if you can get a good night's sleep. How soon could she be out, especially if they find evidence that corroborates her story? I can never put a time frame on any of that stuff because I don't understand our system, Maz. I really don't. I don't know how these people are there when you have stuff that proves they're innocent. Or even look at Brendan the couple years ago when his conviction was overturned and his forced confession was tossed out. He should have been able to just walk out the doors that day. You know, and that's when Brendan changed his thing. Like, he'll sign his letters, the complete and innocent, because that's what he called, said after the judge said that. He's like, I'm innocent. I am the complete and innocent. That's how he worded it. But yet they wouldn't let him out. But if you don't have Brendan's confession, there's nothing to say that he's guilty of this crime. There's nothing. There's no evidence of him being anywhere doing anything. So in Marni's case, it's going to be, we're filing on Tuesday, and then you play that game that then the state has X amount of time that, what is it, 3 months or whatever? Numbers, remember, math, me, numbers, no. So the state has X amount of time to respond to that filing. Then you have to wait for the court. The court has X amount of time to respond after that. So realistically, nothing would really happen with Marni's case probably until next year. That we'd just be doing this waiting game and getting filings, that if it was to get into court, it wouldn't be until next year. So, and then Marni's filing will be something that it will go up in that CI group, the one that you have to pay $10 to get in. So that's something else. I won't be posting it in here because it's an exclusive to the CI group. And it's just a way of, defending yourself costs a lot of money. I'm also going to be working on, with Marni's daughters, they want to do an art show. To raise money for Marni's case. So in the next week, I'm going to be meeting up with them, going to lunch or whatever, because I'm going to mentor them with, what are their ideas? What do they want to do? And then I'm going to, help make that happen. So, the filing and the evidence, the pictures, all that stuff will all go in the CI group. We're also going to start doing things like we'll do a live in there with her attorney. We'll do a live with Marni, so Marni will call Tammy or I, and we'll put it on speaker, and you'll be able to talk to Marni on that live. We're going to do a live with her kids. We'll do a live with her dad. So there'll be a whole lot of things that you'll be able to get, but it will only be available in the CI group. But we're just waiting for that filing. And Tammy and Marni both would get all worried that there isn't anything in the CI group currently that hasn't been posted recently for the people that have already paid that $10. And they feel like, oh my God, this is horrible. These people paid this money and we're not giving them anything new. And I just go, and they understand. I tell all you all in gossip that, we can't say anything now because you're not giving the state advanced notice on this stuff. They have to wait for the filing. So there's only so much that we can put out there. But once the filing happens, the floodgates open. And so you'll get all of that. You'll be able to see all of it. I'll do a live over there in CI group. We'll read through the filing like we do in here with Stevens. And then that's when you can start asking me questions about the case, or Tammy, because Tammy's the one. We need to do a live with Tammy. We'll do a live with Tammy where I'll just moderate it and you guys ask Tammy the questions, because nobody knows Marni's case better than Tammy, including Marni. All right, back to your comments. Julie says, hope for the best, but anticipate the worst. Yep. Let me try and pronounce your name. Ragnhilder says, I've been trying to find fair news about Marni to learn more about her case. Any suggestions on where I can find that? And I see Maz has responded to you, but I also will say there's nothing out there for you to find that's fair on Marni's case. What I can tell you on that was her original attorneys told her not to speak on her case. And they did a very shitty job in representing her. And Marni also had full faith in our system that, oh my God, that's a weird notification I just got on my phone. Sorry. Where was I? What was I talking about? She really had faith that she knows she's innocent, and they don't put innocent people in prison. So she listened to her attorneys and kept her mouth shut, and she got horrible representation. So, and I've talked about this before too, that like you can go to YouTube and you'd be able to find episodes that has been done on this case. And after me seeing the evidence, where I have seen the crime scene photos, I have seen the victim laying on the ground dead. I have seen the autopsy photos. And when I watch the episode on her case, it's completely wrong, including how they show the victim, how she was found, allegedly found according to them. So maybe what we'll do too is, once the filing is done, and once we've gone through the filing and we've had time to discuss and people can ask their questions and look at things, we'll do a live. We've done this before where we've watched Making a Murderer, both 1 and 2, that we were live for all those hours. It was a nice little slumber party for us all. We'll do that where so everybody can synchronize your YouTube, and we will watch the episode together and we will discuss as it plays and can go over, well, that's not right and that's not right. So, and there is over here with all my books over here, there is this book, My Mom Marni, that's written by her 3 kids. Okay. This is not Marni's side of the case. This is what happened to her kids. And what happened to her kids also ties to how Marni was wrongfully convicted. So you can find out the kid's story. That this book's available on Amazon, and you can also get it on marniying.com. It's a short book. It's only 100 and something pages. And there is a book in the works on Marni's case from Marni's side. And there will also be a documentary. So, but yeah, right now there's nothing that's giving you the full story. But as I've said before, it's no different than Stephen's case all those years until Making a Murderer came out. There was no other side for Stephen. So, and that's where we need now this to get out there in the press. And then that's also what the CI group is about, is we want your fresh eyes after you've, oh, okay, it's telling me trying to reconnect that my wireless service is out. Am I still here? Can somebody tell me if you see me? Because I don't know if I should end this and start another one. I'm going to end this and start another one. Wait. Hold on. Let me see. Did somebody say? Okay, you say you can still see me? All right, then I'm just going to keep going, even though on my screen it's saying trying to reconnect due to poor wireless connection. Your video has been paused. Okay, thank you. So I want you, once you have watched the other side, you know, and then you see Marni's defense of it, I want you to tell me why you, if you still think she's guilty, why. Tell me what you see. I want to know. Marni wants to know. Tammy wants to know. So, but it's just like in Stephen's case that Fresh Eyes was able to find that the bones were returned to the Hallback family, right? So in Hallback, Zellner is the best there is. So she didn't get that. So that's what I want from you all. So you just gotta wait one more week, and then you'll be able to see everything. Okay, let me scroll back up here to see if I can find where we were before I scroll to the bottom to see if you could see me. I'm not going to start singing "See Me, Hear Me, Touch Me." It's not spamming. Thank you so much for your comments, your support. Ragnhilder, am I saying that correctly? Do you know the price of the shoes? Miley asked. She told me. So I think she was talking about New Balance, because you know they're able to choose from their commissary, you know, so there's only X amount of choices that they have. But I know she said $60 was the price of the New Balance, and Melissa talked about getting 2 pairs, so like one for work and one for when she works out, and she also like does softball and you know that kind of stuff. Julie says, from what I have found in Michigan, the cost for tablet usage is close to $100 quarterly. This doesn't include the cost of the tablet itself. Might be more now, I don't know. I remember the tablet cost being $200, but don't hold me to it because numbers. Maz says, so sad that so many innocent people are locked up for crimes they didn't do. Well, and that's prior to Making a Murderer. I was for the death penalty. And now I go, how do we know? I trusted our judicial system before. I trusted law enforcement before. But don't get mad at me for saying this, but that's coming from my white privilege growing up in suburbia. Police aren't harassing me, except for when Earl Avery sicks them on me. But I had no reason, like if a cop's going to ask me about something, I'm going to answer. I've got no reason not to. I didn't do anything wrong. As a matter of fact, somebody just called the cops on me a week ago. Now I think about it, and I didn't lawyer up. I just then argued with the cop and stood my ground. So I can't be for the death penalty now because, God, even cases that you would think are cut and dried, this person is guilty, how do we know evidence wasn't doctored? How do we know that the confession wasn't forced? So I don't know. Julie says, is this Marni's first post-conviction appeal? I'm not sure on that. Don't know. I've never even thought about that. So good question, Julie. Maz says, when I tried to join that justice review group, they wanted something like 10 per month. Is that correct? Maybe it's just cost of using it outside USA. No, it's not $10 a month. It's only $10, and that's good for the year. I don't know if it says something different if outside of the United States. I'll ask Tammy about it. Okay, and then there's people responding to that. Oh, and I pronounced it great. Oh, from Iceland, trying to follow up. Well, I'm so amazed by the people all over the world that are interested in Stephen's case. That's, pretty phenomenal. Connie, hi, Connie. People replying to each other. And Regna Hilder says, that's a book of love to read, poor kids. Yeah. So Marni has twins. They were 16 at the time. And then her younger son, who was 12. So, her twins are 29 now. So, are they 29 now? Oh my God, don't trust my math. That would be 27 now, right? Or no, it's 29 now. Because, all right, sorry. Don't make me do math. All right, there's where everybody was telling me they could still hear me and see me. Miley says, haha, Earl Avery. Let me get to Earl for a second. Because I was sent a screenshot of Earl talking shit about me yesterday. So what's going on is when I had a live here the other day, that's when I got a message from somebody that was sending it to Stephen Avery Project that had a tip in Stephen's case. And I said something about it, which has then caused the haters who have to watch everything I do. Hi, haters. To now go on this headhunt to find out who this person is and what the tip is. Now, while I understand being curious about it, because we would hear at Stephen Avery Project, the moderators at Stephen Avery Project are some of the best investigators you will find. I understand wanting to try and figure it out, but they've gone so far as to post somebody's name, and I'm not going to say it, but this isn't the person. And just imagine what you could do to, so it's again a wrongful conviction type thing, that they're singling out this person and like posting their name and all this stuff. And it's like, oh my God, I feel absolutely horrible. So, you know, I shouldn't have said anything at all. You know, because I do want to protect the person, and we've now had multiple people who have sent us tips. I want to protect those people because also Stephen being found innocent or freed, however it happens, is the top priority. It does not matter to me if Stephen likes me. It does not matter to me if Stephen's family likes me. It is, I know he is innocent, and this is an injustice, period. So just because Stephen doesn't like me, or he allegedly says things about me to Sandy to post to try and attack me, I would not then hold information that would possibly free him. That's not me. And I'm also not going to make shit up. To, you know, they think I'm like trying to be relevant or whatever. I could care less. I do what I do because I believe in these cases. That's why. So it bothers me that they're like looking into this person because they think I said that person's name when I actually didn't. I said a pronoun, and from saying the pronoun, they've made a name out of it. So some pretty shoddy investigating done by the wrecking crew. So Earl made a post saying something about how I'm not a true supporter because I hate the family. I don't hate the family because no, I don't hate the family. I do not like what they have done to Stephen and continue to do to Stephen. They'll try to say that I've said something negative about Dolores, which is not true. Dolores and Alan are the only ones that have supported Stephen the entire time. The rest of that family have used Stephen for money and fame, for money and Facebook friends, I guess would say. So I do not have to like that family to support Stephen, and I could care less what they think of me. I should pull up the text message and share the screenshot of the time that Earl was texting me, because he's got my cell phone number, and he was texting me, and he called me a cunt. Sorry for people who don't like that word. I don't like what they did to Stephen and continue to do to Stephen. I don't like that they're manipulating supporters to give them money. And I stand by that. I will always stand by that. But that doesn't change the fact that I believe in Stephen's innocence, and I will continue to support his case. And if tips come our way, we will send them on to Zellner. And so what I did with both of the tips that came in on that day is the one person, I asked for her phone number and gave her the number. The other person, I gave them the Avery tip line phone number and had them reach out themselves. So I'm not going to do a live telling you the information. It's like not my business. Who's whining? Knock it off. Sorry, dogs. So I see the guilters all ripping out money to me who are in here just to spy and to spread it everywhere else. Because groups, I do not have a fake Facebook name to go into the other groups. I don't care. I have other things to do with my time. And if I think somebody is guilty, I'm not going to spend every waking moment discussing the case. OJ is guilty. I'm not going to go talking every day about OJ is guilty. Casey Anthony is guilty, but to each their own. But I'm always going to be the one that everybody attacks, both sides, guilty and Avery fans. Knock it off. Sorry, somebody's riding a four-wheeler in the field across the street from me, so my one dog wants to go out there and chase the four-wheeler. All right, let me scroll some more. Ragnhildur says, exactly. Here in Iceland, maximum sentence is 16 years for murder, but you can get after 2 to 3 with good behavior. Oh, okay, get out after. So we have murderers walking our streets who've done time. I don't know what I feel about that. Yeah. Sorry, I'm seeing Tom's comment of anyone got a picture of Jax looking confused, as I would put numbers all around her for a joke. Screenshot that. Or you could get Tom anytime when then I post the live, when I'm done doing the live, they always have the still of my face is always somewhere. I don't, so, Miley's going to send me a calculator. Matt says no holding info is AC jobs. Yeah. Julie says Cuss Road holds all the answers. Speaking of Cuss Road, I'm going to be taking a trip back there. And so I'll be doing it for the Justice with Jax show. But I can't tell you when. Because last time I was there, Earl, Carla, and Chuck called the cops on me. So this time it'll be a little different. So there will be another Manitowoc field trip. And for those who are new here, because I know we've added a whole bunch of people, you could go into the videos of MAM Gossip and you'll see when I have taken a field trip up to Cuss Road to show you stuff there. Also, what should be in our videos is I've shared other videos I've done when I've gone up to Manitowoc, where I have proved that there's no way the bus driver could have seen Teresa Hallback. I walked the Pam Sturm Path of God to where the RAV4 was found. So there's several different videos in there. Emily says, I don't get them. Why go after people who have information trying to help Stephen and Brendan? I don't know, Emily. It's almost like they just want to prove I'm wrong or that I lied or something like that. Or because there's people that like to just steal information and then take it for themselves. And, so I could totally see, the wrecking crew doing a YouTube video trying to say that they figured this out and this is what this is, blah, 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 blah. So I don't get it either. But see, that's why I say there's a difference between fans and supporters. I support Stephen in his case. I believe in his innocence. I will help his case if I can. It's not about what helps me, where the others just want to help family members who said Stephen was guilty and didn't visit him until Making a Murderer came out. So, yeah. Julie says, maybe I missed it. Why is Earl so worried about who has tips? Well, because I'm supposed to be the bad person, and they just don't want anybody listening to me ever, even though they're always in here every time I do a video. Tom says, if you've got haters, you must be doing something right. I'm sure someone said that. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. Jessica says, they said she hated the Avery family. They said that in another group. They said she was seeking her 5 seconds of fame. Yeah. And I don't hate the Avery family because they're just nothing to me. Hate is a strong word, and which is a song of a band from here of guys that went to school with my sister. And so now the song is in my head. Sorry. I don't like them. No, I don't like them, and I'll admit it. I don't like them. But I'm not talking about Alan Dolores. I'm talking about the ones that want to make money and the ones that are on Facebook and Twitter, claiming to be a family spokesperson when they're not, those kinds of things. And my 5 seconds of fame, I always laugh at this, my 5 seconds of fame. What is my fame? Somebody tell me how do I benefit from this? That for the last 4 years, they have ripped me apart on social media. They have called the Attorney General on me. They have called my local police department on me. They went after my boyfriend owns a print shop, and so they attacked his print shop on Yelp, giving his print shop bad reviews, trying to drag his print shop down. What is my fame? What do you think I'm getting out of this? I get haters. Yeah, there are people that say they appreciate what I do and support it, which is nice. Don't get me wrong, but what does that do for me? Do you think it gives me an ego and I'm getting filled with warm fuzzies or something? I don't know what my 5 seconds of fame would be. But it's been 4 years. I mean, and there's been some really bad times in this, because like when I started on this road, I was friends with people in the family until I peeled away that layer of what they show the public and saw what's really under there. And in doing that, like I used to talk on the phone regularly to Brendan, and I had been told on a Friday that Brendan was adding me to his visitors list, that I was going to start visiting Brendan. And by Monday, Scott had ruined it all. Scott sabotaged it all. Why? Wonder why. So there's really nothing in it for me. I'm not on YouTube making money off of these videos. All these videos I do are of no cost to anyone. People keep telling me I should, because Facebook now has it where I can monetize the stuff. I haven't done it as of yet. People keep telling me I should. Because actually, if I did that, the money that I would get would actually go towards, like the car rides to visit the girls and the food, or I would put stuff on their commissary and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not doing that as a give me money type thing. I'm just saying, I'm not making money off of anything. I'm getting my reputation is getting attacked. And now I wonder if anybody is still on here because it no longer shows me a number and if I've finally been disconnected. So let me see if I'm gone. I don't know if I'm off of here or not. So somebody let me know if you can still see me, because usually up in the corner, it'll tell me how many people are watching, and now it's not saying anything. Anybody? Okay, thank you, Tom. So I don't know what is going on with my thing today. So let me stop babbling and now read your stuff in case I do get cut off. Julie says a duck is flying south next to the dog on the porch. How fast does... Shut up. Are you giving me a word problem, Julie? Don't even. Not doing math. Miley says you're going to get another trespass ticket. Haha. And for those that are new, Earl called it trespassing. And then what was it that he said to me? In a text message to me, he said that he's smarter than me and he has a 40 ICIOO, I believe is how he spelled it. So that's how he spelled IQ. Whatever. Maz says, oh no, shall we start sending you money now? Bail money. Rebecca says, what is your relation to the Avery family and what is your position? It sounds like you're a lawyer of some kind, maybe, or a PI. I've never got that information. Or are you someone that this just interested you in? What are your name? And I see that people have answered, but my name is Jax West. And I run Stephen Avery Project and MAM Gossip. And I am just a supporter. I am just somebody who watched Making a Murderer when it came out and fell down that rabbit hole, and I'm still there. So I am unemployed. I have no legal education. I didn't even go to college, and I'm not bright. I'm not smart. Yeah, I'm just a supporter, and things have snowballed. I wrote an article at one point that was called my Making a Murderer story that might be posted in here in the files. But that talks about how I got started. You know, where that whole thing snowballed from. And I won't get into that now because, oh yeah, and it's not showing me any longer how long I've been on here, but I've been on here longer than an hour, and I'm not going to keep you all going forever on that. Rebecca says, thanks, just curious. It is, Rebecca, a question I get every time I go live on who am I and what's my connection to the family. Am I a family member? So I've done it. There's times when I've done a live that I put in the information of the live, not a family member, not, you know, and the family doesn't even like me. So, and I know that's what like family will try to say, that supporters then shouldn't be in a group that I run, because if you're a supporter, why would you be in a group of a person who doesn't like the family? But I'm an open book on all of that. And just because somebody's family, it doesn't mean they have your best intentions in mind. So, which is what I believe on the family. And so does Stephen, actually. So it is things that when I was talking to Stephen, and my history with Stephen is we used to talk on the phone. Then his family got him mad at me. So I didn't talk to him for 6 months. Well, also in that 6 months, he added some people to his list. And those people used to talk to him on the phone, and they used to say the most horrible things about me to him. So he removed me, or no, he just stopped calling me because I wasn't on his list at that time. So he stopped calling me, and I didn't hear from him for 6 months, because that's the 6 months that these two women were put on his visitors list. And then he tired of those women, and took them off the list and called me again and added me onto his list. And so then I started visiting him, and I went and visited him several times. And then those people in the family worked on him again, and he's mad at me. And according to Sandra, because Stephen never has the guts to tell me himself. And I told him this last time when we were talking again, if you have a question about anything that these people are telling you that I'm doing, tell me about it. But he doesn't have the guts to come to me, and just listens to Sandra's latest lie. And so Sandra's lie this time was the family had yet another GoFundMe. And this time they said it was because Dolores needed a new washer and dryer. And so they told Stephen that I was telling people not to donate for Dolores to have a washer and dryer, which is not correct. I told Stephen, and I said it in the lives and everything I did at that time. I say you do not give money to that family. If you wanted to give money to Dolores for a washer and dryer, you could send it to Kathleen Zellner or put it in Stephen's commissary, because Stephen can take money out of his commissary and send it to his mother. So instead of going to a middle person, the family who keeps stealing his money, and that they are using Dolores for sympathy from supporters, because they know Dolores and Alan are who the supporters care about the most, and they know Stephen worships his parents. So that is their in for Stephen, to stay in Stephen's life, is to act like they care about Dolores and Alan. So Sandra lied to Stephen and said that I was telling people not to help out his mother. So I haven't heard from Stephen. And so all I know is Sandra has made a post claiming Stephen told her to post that he has removed me off his list. Whatever. So this is the second time Stephen's been mad at me and not talking to me. Whatever. It still doesn't change what I do, because Stephen is innocent. There is proof to show that, and he should be free. And I will continue this. There's nothing the family can do to stop me. And it just makes it out too, where I go, Stephen Avery Project, 204,631 people. Why would you try to take that down? That is the biggest support group for Stephen Avery. But they're constantly trying to take it down. Why? 204,631. 204,631 people. Sorry. That's more than all the Making a Murderer groups combined. Why would you want to take that down? You must not really be supporting Stephen if you want to take down his support group. When you go on the Stephen Avery Project public page, all this stuff I'm saying to you about the family never goes on that page. None of those people know any of this. That's what MAM Gossip came out of. It is a place that I can tell you the behind the scenes stuff of the bullshit that surrounds the case. But most people that are on the project page, they don't care about any of this. They don't want to hear it because they just want to know about Stephen. So that's all that goes there. So again, why would you try to take that down? We're not raising any money. We're not selling merchandise. We're not telling lies. We're not saying anything about the family. Why would you be after Stephen Avery Project if you truly cared about Stephen? They don't. It's just another proof that they don't care about Stephen. They only care about getting their Facebook numbers up, which it's a Facebook group. Come on. I know I keep saying the number from Stephen Avery Project, but what does that mean? It's like when people saying I'm trying to get fame. Having a Facebook page that has that many people What does that get me in life? Nothing. Just nothing. Look at the people that come in here like Rebecca, who then asks me who I am. Oh, I've got so much fame. So dumb. All right, let me, Jessica says, I just scroll through it, shake it off. I pay no mind. Keep doing you, Jax. Thank you, Jessica. And I don't care what people think about me. People's opinion of me means nothing. I'm sorry to sound like a bitch, but I'm a bitch. So hate me or love me, at the end of the day, it's not, putting food on my table. Okay, people telling me that they can still see me. Ragnar Hilder says, Scott did what? Why would he not let you visit? That's a long story, and we've been through it before. Maybe I need to schedule a live where we go through my history with the case for my 5 seconds of fame. Because for those of you who are new, I used to be friends with Barb and Scott. I've actually been in their home. So maybe we'll do that. That I'll go over all of that with you. But not now, because we've already been on forever. And I want to be lazy and lay on my couch because I had a long, long day yesterday. And I just want to do nothing. People telling me how many have been watching. Tanya says, Scott is guilty as hell. Yeah, Scott has some connection. I know. Beverly, you are smart, which also is music has a lot to do in my life. And so everything I see or hear becomes a song, reminds me of a song. So that is The Simpsons. I am so smart. SMRT smart. Miley, you're not basically a lawyer? Nope. Natasha says, having a degree doesn't mean you're smart either. Just saying. Very true. Excellent point. Tanya saying I'm awesome. That stuff always makes me cringe. I don't like to read it because I just feel weird about it. I mean, it's nice to get positive affirmation, but it's like I feel weird when I see that. Ragnar Hilder says, it's horrible. He's got trust issues for sure. So many people taking advantage of him and lying to him. He obviously believes everything this Sandra says. Oh, no, he doesn't. Sandra's done some horrible things to Steven. And she keeps thinking at the end of this, she's going to be his bride. And it's not going to happen. Steven wants Sandra's old enough to be his mother. It's not happening. Steven was robbed of the opportunity to have a wife and family. Because remember when he was taken for the Penny Bernstein case, he was 22, right? Numbers, remember? I don't do numbers. He was 22, and his twin sons had just been born. His twin sons were what? They were like a week old, a month old when the Penny Bernstein thing happened. And so he lost his wife. His wife then poisoned those children against him. He's got almost no relationship with the children he had. Those children have children. So he's got grandchildren that he doesn't know. So those kids are all grown. He wants to be a dad. So when he's free, he wants a wife and children, and it's not going to be Sandra. And that's actually when I used to defend Sandra and support her, because she was somebody who was there for Steven when his family, other than his parents, were not. She was there before making a murderer. So, but she's the one looking for her 5 seconds of fame. She's the one that has had GoFundMe's because her basement flooded and she was looking for Steven's supporters to give her money to fix her basement. So she started out with true intentions and then went bad. So she has done things like when Steven has many women that write to him. And he has many women that he talks to. He has relationships with multiple women. All right. And so there was one woman he was having a relationship with that he really liked. And Sandy got jealous and sold the story to a tabloid where she ripped Steven apart and said horrible things about Steven. So that broke his trust in Sandra that she will never get back. So while he still associates with her, it's just what he has to do. I don't know the right words to use for that, because I'm also trying to be careful with my words because they're all watching. Hi, Sandra. And so I know things that she's done because Steven has told me. So they play this game of who does Steven like best? And I don't need Steven to like me. And actually, my very, very first phone conversation with Steven is when I took over Stephen Avery Project from Curtis Bussey, who is the creator of the Stephen Avery Project. And Curtis used to visit Steven. And so on his last visit with Steven to tell him that he was moving on and that I was taking over Stephen Avery Project, I then had to write to Steven and give him my information so then he could reach out to me, being the person who now runs Stephen Avery Project. So then on our very first call, I made it known right from the get-go, I'm not looking to date you. Because Steven is looking for love and there are women that are preying on him for that. So, and that's not me. I'm not interested. I'm not even interested in a friendship with Steven. If he calls me, he calls me. If he wants me to come visit him, I'll come visit him. It's all what he wants, but my world doesn't revolve around it. I don't care. My world doesn't come to an end because Steven took me off his list. That's fine. He's got the right to see whoever he wants. I just don't like that he knows better. And I've told him before, when people tell you something about me, please talk to me about it. But he didn't again. So whatever. Scrolling. Maz says, yeah, Jex, tell it like it is and is a wonderful person. Well, thank you. Natasha, take a compliment, girl. It's so, it makes me weird. Shanda says he was absolutely robbed of his family. Yeah, I know. It's, so like when you see the letters in Making a Murderer where him and his wife are, because it was mutual. I know people try to use the look at what he was saying to his wife. She was saying things to him like she's going to take his kids away and he's never going to see his kids again. So, so there was anger there. Got it. But I feel horrible for him that he didn't get any time with his kids and they don't know him. And they've been led to, they've been told horrible things about him. I don't like it. So I do hope one day he is free, that he can disappear into the wilderness, that his parents are still alive, that he can, ride off to the sunset, into the sunset with his parents and find a good woman who truly loves him. Steve just wants to be in love so bad, and that they're able to have a family. Ragnar Hilder says, yeah, I watched the interview with his twins, and it's so sad how they feel about him. And they look so much like him, too. Shanda says, the state ruined his life with his family. Yeah. No matter who the actual killer is, the state is involved in some way, whether it's the framing him or something more. Just horrible. Natasha says, whatever happened to Brendan's other brother who was in this group? Oh, that's Brad. So Brad is Brendan's half brother. So they have the same father, not the same mother. Brad is no relation to the Avery family. Brad will be in this group and then leaves and then tries to come back and all this. And he's always like trying to sell his music, and he sells stories to the tabloids and is always trying to get on the news. And so he'll talk shit about the family. And then when he can't get what he wants that way, then he kisses up to the family. And I don't know. So he's odd. I'm actually still Facebook friends with him, and so he keeps sending me these invites that he's got like some radio show thing on the weekend or something, and so I get these invites to his radio show. I have no interest in Brad Dassey. Shanda says, I hope his relationships can be reckoned with and have a relationship with his son and their family. Yeah, he's got, it's his daughter, Jennifer, I believe, is the one that he hears from the most. But even that isn't that much anymore. And Tom says, is the interview with Steven's kids on here somewhere? I'm sure it's been posted in here at some point, Tom. You could also just Google it. And they have a Facebook group too, called the Avery Twins Support Group or something like that. I was in it once upon a time and left it because they also did a GoFundMe for themselves. It's just whatever. So I'm sure you can Google it, Tom. And so anybody who finds it, go ahead and post it and gossip for others to see it once you get it. Yeah, Shanda says Jennifer goes to see him, I believe. So, all right, I'm down to the end of your comments. I've been on here for a while. So I'm going to wrap this up. I will leave it with that Marni Yang, we're filing for her, like I said, on Tuesday next week. Press conference on Wednesday in Chicago. So after that, we'll talk about Marni's case, and you'll get to see everything on why she is innocent, what that proof is. I'll schedule a live at some point where we can do the talking about how I got involved in this case, because I need my 5 seconds of fame. So I need a live to be all about me, because that's what I long for. So stay tuned to that for Marni's case next week. Melissa's case, we could hear anything any day. Melissa's birthday is next Friday, so send her a birthday card. She really likes scary movies. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is her favorite movie. Send her a birthday card if you want to put something in her commissary to celebrate her birthday. I know her dad and her godmother are going to visit her on her birthday, so she's excited about that. So Melissa, we could hear anything any day on her case, and Steven's filing isn't until October 14th. So when that filing comes out, we will get it as soon as we can, and we'll go live. I'll probably do the thing that I do every time, that first I'll go live on Stephen Avery Project to hit the most amount of people at once that I can. And then we'll go live in Gossip, where that's when I can really say how I feel about things. Let me scroll. Everybody's saying goodbye. So yeah, that's that. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll talk next week.